Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to look past the usual tourist spots and dive into something way more personal, the homes that really shape our cities. I mean, think about it. Every single apartment, every house, every high rise, it's not just a building, right? It's a story. It's a little piece of our city's DNA.
Have you ever actually done that? Just stopped, looked at a building, and really wondered, what's your story? What do you say about this city? Because whether it's some massive skyscraper or just a quiet street of row houses, every single home has a tale to tell. It tells you everything about a city's priorities, its past, and of course, the people who live there.
All right, so let's get into it. We're going to use the number 20 as our roadmap today. We'll be looking at 20 totally different kinds of homes to help us decode, the secret architectural language of our cities.
So, our first major theme is a big one. It's a challenge that pretty much every city on the planet has to deal with. How do you balance space and people? It's this constant puzzle of fitting a growing population into a limited area. We're calling it the density equation. And at its heart, this equation is really a tug of war. You've got these two opposing forces. On one side, you have the need for efficiency. How do we house as many people as we possibly can? But on the other side, there's this powerful pull of exclusivity, the desire for private, luxurious spaces. And believe me, this tension is what shapes almost every single city skyline out there. Okay, let's start with the absolute workhorse of city housing, the apartment, or as it's called in many places, the flat. This is by far the most common answer to that density problem. You're basically stacking homes on top of each other, going vertical, to squeeze the most out of every single square foot of land. Now, if you take that idea of efficiency and distill it down to its absolute core, you get the studio flat. It's just one single room that does everything. It's your living room, your bedroom, and your kitchen, all rolled into one. It's kind of the perfect symbol for that fast-paced, on-the-go lifestyle of young professionals in the city.
Another really classic way to tackle density is the row house. The concept is pretty simple but brilliant. You have a line of identical houses that all share sidewalls. This cuts down on wasted space and lets you pack them in tightly. You get a little bit of that single-family home vibe, but you're still being super efficient with the land. It's a great mix of privacy and density.
All right, so let's completely pivot now. We've talked about efficiency, but what about that other side of the equation? This quote says it all, doesn't it? The ultimate symbol of prestige in the metropolitan skyline. We're officially moving away from housing the many and into the world of showcasing the few. We're leaving pure function behind and stepping into the realm of pure aspiration.
So, what's at the very, very top of that aspirational ladder? You guessed it, the penthouse. It basically takes the whole idea of an apartment building and flips it on its head. That top floor isn't just another unit. It becomes a powerful symbol of success, complete with the best views and a level of luxury you won't find anywhere else in the building. Okay, coming down from the top of the skyscraper back to ground level, we have the villa. Now, these are basically the exact opposite of high-density living. The name of the game here is space, privacy, and, of course, luxury. They often form these exclusive, sometimes gated communities, little pockets of tranquility right in the middle of a busy city. And then, of course, you have the ultimate statement home, the mansion. These are just exceptionally large, incredibly luxurious homes that take up huge chunks of prime city real estate. A mansion is way more than just a place to live. It's a landmark of wealth and power. They literally define a city's most elite districts. So to wrap up this first part, this table really lays out the key takeaway. You can see that clear trade-off. On one hand, you've got apartments and studios, which are all about high-density living. Their job is to accommodate a ton of people. And on the other hand, you've got villas and mansions, which are all about high luxury. Their role is to be a symbol of wealth and success. And these two things, these competing forces, are both totally essential parts of what makes a city. Okay, but homes aren't just about this modern-day push and pull between density and luxury. They're also time machines. They carry the city's history within their walls, but they also give us a glimpse into its future. This is where we start to really talk about a city's architectural soul. A perfect example is the Haveli. This is a traditional type of mansion, often found in the historic hearts of South Asian cities. And their defining feature is that they're built around a central courtyard. Now, this isn't just a random design choice. It's a very intentional layout meant to preserve a traditional, communal way of life, often for large, extended families. Now, what's really fascinating here is how this mirrors the past. What we're seeing today with co-living spaces is basically a modern reinvention of that same communal idea we saw in the Haveli. You get a private bedroom, sure, but you share big, extensive communal facilities. It's all about creating a new type of community for a new generation of city dwellers.
In a similar way, you have chawls, which are historically super important in cities like Mumbai. This is another powerful example of historical high-density housing. Now, they were originally designed just for efficiency, with shared corridors and facilities, but what ended up happening was that they forged these incredibly strong, really tight-knit communities.
Okay, so we've seen how our homes can preserve history, but let's make a big jump forward now to the home of the future. What's happening today? How are things like new technology and a growing environmental consciousness completely reshaping the very idea of what a home is?
Well, the home of today is evolving in a few really important ways. First, you've got eco-homes, which are built from the ground up to be sustainable and energy efficient. They're changing not just what our homes look like, but how they actually work with the planet. Then you have smart homes, which are packed with technology for automation and control, basically turning your home into a responsive environment. And finally, there's the rise of serviced apartments, which are fully furnished places with hotel-style services, perfect for the modern traveler. All these trends are pointing to a future where our homes are greener, smarter, and a whole lot more flexible.
Okay, so after looking at all these different pieces of the puzzle, from packed apartment buildings and historic Havelis all the way to a modern smart home, what does it all add up to? Let's take a step back and look at the big picture. This slide here really ties everything we've talked about together. It breaks it down into 3 key themes, 3 stories our homes tell. First, there's that core conflict between density versus luxury. Apartments versus villas. Second, there's the thread of cultural heritage, which we see being preserved in homes like Havelis and chawls. And finally, you've got the wave of modern trends, things like co-living and smart homes, which are all about innovating for how we're going to live tomorrow. So really, the main thing to take away from all this is that our homes are so much more than just shelter. All of these different types, and so many others, they all exist together. They're all part of this complex, living urban ecosystem. And that mix of different needs and different styles, well, that's what makes a city what it is. It's a place of amazing diversity, constant tension, and nonstop innovation. And that really leaves us with one final, fascinating question to think about. As our cities and our lives continue to evolve, what will the home of tomorrow actually look like? As our technology gets smarter and our world keeps changing, what kind of stories will the next generation of homes tell about us? Thanks for watching.